everyday Nigerians. Don't miss the comeback of the Big 7 stories every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. only on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, the wholesome radio station.
Talk to me in public, I'm in a different place.
It's back, bigger, bolder, and better. The Big 7 Stories returns to Wells Radio 89.3 FM.
Big seven, big seven. First of all,
Join Bolanle Oduekun every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. as she breaks down the 7 biggest headlines of the week: politics, economy, security, lifestyle, and more. Plus, in our special segment, I Report, we dig deeper into one headline with expert insights and the voices of everyday Nigerians. Don't miss the comeback of the Big 7 stories every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. only on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, the wholesome radio station.
talk to me in public, I'm in a different place.
All right, studio time check says it's 37 minutes gone past 8 p.m. Today, the 7th day in March of 2026. Good evening to you, dear listener. Thank you so much for tuning to Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio, your number one family radio in the whole of Oyo State. We're broadcasting live from the Wells Broadcasting House along Alafin Avenue, Uliole Estate, Ibadan. That's where we're broadcasting live from. You can follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook at Wells Radio 893 FM fan page, on Instagram, X, and TikTok at Wells Radio 893. Visit our website to listen to us and also to get information about the station, www.wellsradio893.com. You can also find us on a couple of radio directories, onlineradiobox.net as well as radiogarden.com. You're welcome this evening. My name is Bolanle Oduekun Ayola, and the show is The Big 7 Stories. right, so once again, you're welcome to the Big Seven Stories on Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Every week on this show, we count down the 7 stories that everyone has been talking about. From the news that shakes the nation to the events that are shaping our world. If it made the headlines, then you know it's right here on the Big 7 Stories. And that's said and done, let's get into the Big 7. Of course, we start our story today by talking about the fact that President Bola Tinubu this week approved the official posting of 65 Nigerian ambassadors and high commissioners to foreign missions around the world. This is, of course, a major step in restoring Nigeria's diplomatic representation months after the envoys were confirmed by the Senate. You'd recall that as at the time, at the beginning of the tenure of President Bola Tinubu, he recalled all the, commissioners and envoys across, and he was supposed to, nominate new people. And later we heard that some had been nominated but had not been deployed because of, money-related issues. And as time went by, we realized that Nigeria did not have diplomatic representation across many countries. And the conversation sprung up again when America labeled Nigeria, or was about to label Nigeria, a country of particular concern. And there was a lot of conversation on that matter. And as a result of that, fortunately, the president did make his nominations, some of them controversial, but he made his nominations. Now, the ambassadors and high commissioners, 65 of them have been approved, and this was announced. They have been approved to be deployed. They've given their official posting to them, and this approval was announced in a statement by the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga. They have assigned the ambassadors designates to countries across Europe, Asia, Africa, the Americas, and multilateral organizations, including the United Nations. According to the presidency, the list comprises 31 career diplomats and 34 non-career ambassadors whose nominations were earlier screened and confirmed by the Senate in December of 2025. And of course, we know that this move fills the diplomatic vacancies that have persisted for several months in several key missions abroad. There's so many high-profile and controversial political figures, as well as former public officials who feature prominently among the postings. And we'll take a look at the notable assignments, or maybe we just take a look at all of them in general. And we'll start with Senator Grace Ben, who has been approved to the Lome Togo mission. Senator Ita Enang, who has been approved to the South African mission. Ikpeazu Victor to Spain. Nkechi Linda Forchuku to Tel Aviv, Israel. Mahmoud Yakubu to Qatar. That's the former ANEC boss. We also have Paul Ogadiku to the Vatican City. Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, you'd remember him for being the sole administrator for River State, and he's been assigned to the Philippines. Mr. Reno Mokri, former critic of the President Tinubu-led government, now defender, has been posted to Mexico City. We also have Honorable Engineer Abasi Brima, who has been posted to Budapest, Hungary. Mrs. Erelu Angela Debayo to Portugal. Barrister Olumilua Yinka Ayotunwa to Tokyo, Japan. We have Right Honorable Ugwai Ifeanyi Lawrence to Athens, Greece. We have Barrister Chioma Priscilla Ohakim to Warsaw, Poland. Aminu Dalhatu to United Kingdom. Lieutenant General A.B. Dambazo to Beijing, China. Honorable Tasio Musa Meigari to Gambia. Olufemi Pedro to Australia. Barrister Mohammed Ubandoma Aliyu to Argentina. Latif Karadiare to the USA. Ambassador Joseph Sholaiji to Russia. Senator Jimo Ibrahim to the as the UN Permanent Rep. Femi Fani Kayode to Germany. Professor Isaac Folorenshaw Adewale to Ottawa, Canada. Ajimobi Fatima Florence, wife to former Governor Ajimobi of Oyo State, to Austria. We have Mrs. Lola Konde to Sweden, Ayodele Oke to France, Yakubu N. Gambo to Saudi Arabia, Senator Professor Nora Ladi Dadut to Seoul, South Korea, Barrister Onuezi Okocha SAN to Dublin, Dr. Kulu Haruna Abubakar to Tunis in Tunisia, Right Honorable Jerry Samuel Manwe to Port of Spain, Trinidad. And that's what we have here. For those who, for the ambassadors who their postings have been, the non-career ambassadors and high commissioners who have been posted, we have 31 of them. Now, on the other hand, we also have the career ambassadors / high commissioners as well. And I'll put it out there as well. We have Ambassador Nwabiola Ezenwa posted to Cote d'Ivoire, Besto Maimuna Ibrahim to Niamey, Niger, Monica Okuchukwu Enebechi to Sao Tome, that's in Sao Tome and Principe, Ambassador Mohamed Mahmoud Lele to Algiers, Algeria, and Doni Sindof Paebi to Burkina Faso, Ahmed Mohamed Monguno to Cairo, Egypt, Ambassador Jane Adams Michael to Kingston, Jamaica, Ambassador Clark Omeru Alexandra to Lusaka, Zambia, Chimak Jodri Lioma David to Bamako, Mali, Ambassador Oduma Yvonne Ehinose to Equatorial Guinea, Ambassador Wasa Shegwinge to Beirut, Lebanon, Ruben Abimbola Samuel to Rome, Italy, Ambassador Naga Ogechukwu Kingsley to Maputo, Mozambique, Ambassador Magaji Umar Kinshasa to DR Congo, Ambassador Muhammad Seidu Dahiru to New Delhi, India, Ambassador Abdusalam Zayad to Dakar, Senegal, Ambassador Shehu Ilubarde to Accra, Ghana, Ambassador Aminu Nasir to Ethiopia, Ambassador Musa to N'Djamena, Chad region, Ambassador Heidara Mohammed Idris to The Hague, Netherlands, Ambassador Baku Adamu Umar to Rabat, Morocco, Ambassador Sulu Gambari Olatunji Ahmed to Malaysia, Ambassador Rumata Mohammed Omobolanle to Tanzania, Ambassador Shaga John Sharma to Botswana, Salau Hamza Mohammed to Tehran, Iran, Ambassador Ibrahim Danlami to Kenya, Ibrahim Adiola Mukwilola to Cotonou, Benin Republic, Ambassador Ayeni Adebayo Emmanuel to Brussels, Belgium, Ambassador Akonde Wahab Adekola to Bern, Switzerland, Ambassador Ariwa Esther to Windhoek, Namibia, Ambassador Jergadi Joseph John to Libreville, Gabon, Ambassador Luther Ogbomode Ayokalata to Sierra Leone, and Danladi Yakubu Yaku to Khartoum, Sudan, and finally Bello Dogon Daji Haliru to Bangkok, Thailand. Please note that all of these names and their designations were sourced for me from the State House website and also the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And there we have it, the names of the officers of all the ambassadors, career and non-career, who were posted to all of these places. Now, the presidency has described the deployments as part of their efforts to strengthen Nigeria's diplomatic presence, which truly we need at this point. They also say it's a part of efforts to deepen bilateral relations and promote economic and strategic partnerships globally. They're saying that these appointments will help to reposition Nigerians' missions to better pursue the administration's foreign policy and economic diplomacy agenda. Now, what has been the reaction to this? Opposition have reacted. I'll give you the case of the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, who have faulted aspects of the posting. They're questioning the selection process itself, and they're also raising concerns about the appointment of several political figures as ambassadors. They're arguing that the inclusion of some of these prominent political actors could politicize the diplomatic missions and also undermine professionalism within Nigeria's foreign service. Also, we have seen on Facebook several people writing, especially against Mr. Reno Omokri, who, used to be a very vocal critic of the current president, who now is a defender of the current president. And people have been writing particularly to Mexico, High Commission, and also to Canada to say that he should not be allowed to be Nigeria's representative to that country. But many would say, well, why that? After all, change is the only constant thing. And a person is entitled to their opinion, but these people on Facebook are also entitled to their opinion. Anyway, the newly posted ambassadors are expected to begin preparatory briefings and diplomatic induction before departing for their respective countries of assignment. Now moving on to our second story on the Big 7 stories for today. Frustration over Nigeria's persistent electricity challenges is growing across several states in the country. Residents are staging protests over erratic power supply and estimated billing, even as the national power generation is said to have dropped below 4,000 megawatts due to a worsening gas supply crisis, which is affecting thermal power plants. Now, according to the Nigerian Independent System Operator, the electricity generation on the national grid recently fell to about 3,940 megawatts, largely due to insufficient gas supply to thermal power plants that produce the bulk of Nigeria's electricity. They said that to that end, several generating units had to shut down because they were unable to access enough gas, and of course, this worsened the already limited supply that, has been available to electricity distribution companies nationwide. As a matter of fact, many electricity distribution companies actually posted, on their social media platforms, apologizing to their customers, and all that. I'll just take some of them for us. Now, this was from the IBDC in the Osun region. They said, their esteemed customer kindly be informed that due to low load allocation / power supply, the following communities are experiencing a power outage. They mentioned many communities. So basically they are saying it's due to low load allocation and power supply. The IBDC also put the same to the Ogun region, where they said, their esteemed customer, please be informed that the loss of power on a major line has affected the following feeders, and they mentioned the feeders and said due to that they wouldn't have power. So it's not just also in Ibadan as well, your state in general. We've also seen erratic power supply, with many areas not getting up to the expected hours of electricity supply per day. Now, this has led to protests. In Minna, Niger State, residents staged a protest against persistent blackouts and what they described as unfair estimated billing by the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. The protest organizers said that many households were receiving inflated electricity bills despite inconsistent power supply. They called for obviously improved electricity distribution, as well as the widespread installation of free prepaid meters. A similar protest also occurred in Oshogbo, Osun State, where the residents marched to the IBDC office over prolonged power outages affecting several communities. These protesters issued a 7-day ultimatum demanding restoration of their areas to a higher electricity supply classification. They said many communities now receive only about 4 hours of electricity daily, which is of course far below the expected supply levels. Now, what has been the response of the government? Now, the federal government has said that it is working to ensure or working on measures to improve the power sector. And some of these measures include addressing gas supply challenges and strengthening the electricity value chain. As a matter of fact, sometime this week, the president did approve of what they call the GRMCO to help also ensure that the grid is better, to ensure that the electricity grid is better as well. And that was done this week as well. The GAMCO, the president constituted an 11-member committee to ensure the smooth sailing incorporation of the Grid Management Company Limited. And they said that, with this, they hope to fast-track a quick fix solution to the endemic problems of stranded power, grid management, and transmission in Nigeria's electricity sector. They said the proposed establishment of GAMCO is one of the revolutionary steps taken by the president and this administration in the power sector. And so basically it was inaugurated, and we hope that they're able to find a solution, basically, because the committee is supposed to conduct a comprehensive review of existing laws, regulations, policies, and institutional frameworks governing the electricity value chain. And basically that's generation, transmission, distribution, and market operations. All right, so they're going to take a look at that, see where the real problem is, and find solutions. But we hope they can do this as soon as possible, because there is rising public frustration. There are mounting protests. Some other states are also talking about protests, and we don't want this to happen, especially amidst the many other things that we're currently grappling with in Nigeria. So what can solve all of this? It's improving generation capacity and electricity distribution. This is critical to restoring public confidence and also supporting economic activity across the country, because we know that when it comes to economic activities in any country, any city, any community, electricity is very, very important. Let's move on to our third story on the Big 7 stories for tonight. The federal government this week rolled out a new data-driven system to identify and track foreign nationals who overstay their visas in Nigeria, while also ordering a nationwide crackdown on irregular migrants. This is all in a bid to tighten border control and immigration management. They said that this newly deployed system leverages digital data to monitor the arrival and departure records of foreign visitors, and this will help immigration officials to quickly flag individuals who remain in the country beyond the validity of their visas, which is a very good thing. But many have said, while this is very good, it's welcome, it's necessary to curb illegal migration. Many have raised the concerns about the potential impact on foreign residents, especially traders and professionals who may not yet or who may not be fully informed about this new compliance requirements. We do hope that there will be effective public communication, interagency coordination, and safeguards, so that the rights and dignity of visitors and long-term foreign residents to Nigeria can be protected. I'll move on to our next story, the Big 7 stories. The Nigeria Police Council unanimously this week ratified the appointment of Olatunji Rilwandiso as the new Inspector General of Police. The president also swore him in during the Federal Executive meeting this week as well. He was approved on Monday at the State House, and he was also, approved and sworn in by the president as well. And he has moved on to do, so many things within that short space of time. And I'll just give us a quick look into some of the things that the new IGP has put in motion. Let me put it that way. Some of the things that the new IGP has put in motion. Of course, there's the talk about state police. The new IGP has said that they're going to constitute a committee to look into how they can also contribute when it comes to state police. The IGP noted that the concept of state police is being carefully examined as part of broader national efforts to improve security governance, to bring policing closer to the people and deepen community participation in crime prevention. So basically, this committee will be mandated to review existing policing models within and outside Nigeria to assess community security needs and emergency risks. They also propose an operational framework for the establishment of coordination of state police structures, address recruitment, training, standards, and so on and so forth. And he's also emphasized that the state police is not intended to replace or diminish the Nigeria police force, but rather to function as a complementary structure within a coordinated national security framework that will strengthen national cohesion and institutional effectiveness. Yes, we've talked and talked. The president has also talked and talked about state policing, and we do hope that it's really getting there. We hope that it's really getting to, where we need it to be. All right, moving on quickly to the next story on the Big 7 stories for tonight. President Bola Tinubu this week suspended the cashless airport toll collection policy at major Nigerian airports. This was following the widespread gridlock and mounting complaints from travelers, and he directed authorities to improve the system before any further rollout. So what happened was that the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, under the directives from the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, had introduced a cashless toll system at the airport entry and exit points. And so this basically required airport users to pay parking fee, access fee electronically. So there was no more cash payment. So they could pay via card payments, mobile apps, or other digital platforms. And basically this policy is part of a broader push towards digital payments and also reduced cash handling at federal facilities. But almost immediately after implementation, the travelers reported severe traffic gridlocks around airport terminals. We learned that many of these motorists were either unable to complete the cashless transaction due to technical challenges or poor network connectivity or even limited payment options. Some of them were stranded outside the airport for hours. Some of them missed their flights. And generally, there was, of course, criticism of the rollout of this directive. And in response to that situation, President Tinubu directed that the cashless toll system should be suspended immediately. And it's not all about the suspension. The president also said that FAN and the Ministry of Aviation should work together to improve the processes, the technical infrastructure, and user accessibility. He said there was the need for a system that enhances efficiency without penalizing the travelers. He said that public convenience and safety must come first. FAN's managing director has also said that this policy itself has not been completely abandoned, but the authority has been asked to address operational gaps and improve implementation before it's introduced. It's a good one because, of course, this will ensure better transparency in handling of in inflow of money, at the airports, ensuring that the money really goes to the purse of the government. I'll move on to our next story on the Big 7 stories, which is our sixth story, taking us to the Middle East. Of course, the conflict between Iran and the US-Israel coalition, which has intensified. Airstrikes are hitting Tehran and Hezbollah positions in Beirut. We're learning that over 200 people are dead. And of course, it's disrupting global trade and energy markets. Just look at how much petrol is selling for in Nigeria at the moment. I'll give you a bit of details of the conflict. This fighting has seen coordinated strikes on military and strategic sites across Iran and Lebanon. Tehran has been targeted for the first time since the conflict began. Hezbollah infrastructure in Beirut also sustained heavy bombardments. We're hearing that casualty reports have over 200 dead, hundreds injured, including even military personnel and civilians as well. Iran, on its own end, has also launched missile and drone attacks across the region, including towards U.S. bases in the Gulf. And what has been the impact of this? Global markets have reacted sharply. Stock exchanges in Dubai and Abu Dhabi are suspended because of the heightened risk. The Dubai airport is shut because of the attacks, and no one can come in or go out. Oil prices have also surged. This is because of the disruptions that have been reported in the Strait of Hormuz and the Suez Canal. These are key corridors for the global energy supply, and as a result of this, oil prices have surged because demand is now outweighing supply. Now, the U.S. President Donald Trump has said that no deal is possible with Iran without unconditional surrender. He said that's what they want, total surrender. And this is what many call a hardline stance on de-escalation negotiations. The U.S. is apparently reinforcing military positions across allied bases in the Gulf, troop rotations, logistical support, and so on and so forth. Israel has also confirmed that its air campaign targeted strategic Iranian and Hezbollah sites to prevent further escalation. They're saying that they are aiming to reduce threats to the territories. Meanwhile, Beirut and Tehran residents have also reported extensive damage to their residential areas, their utilities, their transport infrastructure as well. Now, many analysts have warned that this conflict could spark a broader regional confrontation affecting trade, energy security, and diplomatic relations. Of course, the global oil markets still remain very volatile. The prices are expected to stay high because the situation is still unfolding and there is no end in sight. Iran has said categorically that there's nothing like surrender for them, and the US has said categorically that they wouldn't accept anything short of a total surrender. So we're at an impasse, and we honestly don't know what will happen. The situation remains fluid. Governments and international organizations say they are monitoring this conflict closely, and they're preparing for possible humanitarian and security responses. And quickly on our next story, or our last story before we move on to the I Report segment, is of course in the world of sports, where Nigeria's Super Eagles are now certain that they will not participate in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This is after FIFA confirmed Democratic Republic of Congo, that's DR Congo, as the nation that will contest the final CAF playoff spot. This has of course ended Nigeria's qualifying hopes for the FIFA 2026. So basically, the FIFA announced that DR Congo will face the winner of the CAF South Zone final playoff for the last African place at the 2026 World Cup. So this obviously excludes Nigeria from contention. And the NFF initially had denied reports of the Super Eagles elimination. They said the matter was under review, but with FIFA's confirmation of DR Congo's playoff position, the NFF has acknowledged the outcome, and they have said they will comply with FIFA's rulings. Of course, many Nigerian football fans and sports analysts alike are disappointed. They have expressed their frustration on social media, in sport commentaries, over what they see as administrative lapses that contributed to Nigeria's exits from the 2026 World Cup. It's a very sad one. It represents a significant blow to Nigerian football. This is one of the rare occasions that the Super Eagles have failed to secure a spot at the football's global showcase. We hope that we learn a lesson from this to avoid a repeat in future qualification cycles. And that's it on our first segment of the Big 7 Stories. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the I Report segment is next. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. It's the Big 7 Stories on Wells Radio 89.3 FM.
It's back, bigger, bolder, and better. The Big Seven Stories returns to Wells Radio 89.3 FM.
Big seven. Big seven. First of all,
Join Bolanle Oduekun every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. as she breaks down the 7 biggest headlines of the week: politics, economy, security, lifestyle, and more. Plus, in our special segment, I Report, we dig deeper into one headline with expert insights and the voices of everyday Nigerians. Don't miss the comeback of the Big Seven Stories every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. only on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, the wholesome radio station.
talk to me in public. I'm in a different place.
How long will it take you to confirm payment? I have been waiting for the past 1 hour.
I am so sorry. Our network is slow. I will just run out of data.
Same excuse yesterday. It is unacceptable, please. You better switch to One Data Internet Service.
One data?
Yes, One Data. One Data is an internet service provider with the best alternative and solution for unlimited speed. One Data provides fast and reliable internet service to organizations, homes, and places of interest in Nigeria. With One Data, you get to enjoy the premium internet service with dedicated unlimited internet speed at all times, 24/7 fantastic customer service and support, and you enjoy a 1-month free subscription when you make payment. Now is the time to say goodbye to downtimes. Sign up with One Data today on 0811 223 2671 or visit www.onedata.ng for more inquiries. One Data, unlimited speed.
Are you hungry for something delicious? Food that feels like home but tastes like pure luxury? Then welcome to Honeydew Restaurant, where every meal is made to make you smile. From our smoky jollof to rich ofada sauce to a variety of delicious soups like egusi, eforiro, and more, paired with your favorite proteins and hot, freshly made swallows, all made for you to enjoy. We also handle bulk orders in liters, fresh and ready whenever you need it. We deliver it to your doorstep. At Honeydew, it's not just the food, it's the feel. With our beautiful ambience, perfect for your romantic dates, family outings, or your quiet, relaxing evening escape. Join us every last Friday of the month at 7 p.m. for karaoke night with Jayola and enjoy music, games, food, drinks, and free mocktails and cocktails as you sing your hearts out. Visit us at Plot 42, Block 8, Alaafin Avenue, beside Wells Radio, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan. For your doorstep delivery or inquiries, call or WhatsApp 0814-691-6635, 0814-691-6635. Honeydew Restaurant, where every meal is made to make you smile.
Boost your business with Wells Radio 89.3 FM. In a competitive world of business, strategic brand and product positioning is key to growth. Don't remain unseen in the shadows. Shine a spotlight on your brand with Wells Radio 89.3 FM today. Why Wells Radio? We are your state's #1 family radio station. We connect with the heart of families in your state. As the smallest unit of the society, families trust Wells Radio for quality content and information. Visit us today along Alaafin Avenue, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan. Our white and blue building just before Sharp Corner ensures your business won't go unnoticed. Advertise with us today. Call our marketing office on 0903 936 8185. Call Toby on 0803 509 3394. Ayo on 0706 840-7359. Take the leap today. Let Wells Radio 89.3 FM be the megaphone for your business success. You won't regret it.
It's back, bigger, bolder, and better. The Big Seven Stories returns to Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Join Bolanle Oduekun every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. as she breaks down the 7 biggest headlines of the week: politics, economy, security, lifestyle, and more. Plus, in our special segment, I Report, we dig deeper into one headline with expert insights and the voices of everyday Nigerians. Don't miss the comeback of the Big 7 stories every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. only on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, the wholesome radio station.
All right, you're welcome from that extended break. It's still the Big 7 stories on Wells Radio 89.3 FM. We're in the I Report segment, and we're going to be speaking with, a guest. We were to have 2 guests, but our first guest, unfortunately, is not available anymore at this time. But I will definitely speak to our second guest. And what are we talking about on the I Report segment? We're going to be looking into the erratic power supply that we have experienced in Nigeria in the past couple of months. At the beginning of the year, this year, we have seen grid disruptions and, many situations of no power supply, which has, of course, affected us as a nation, as a country, economically, and, in so many areas. So we're going to be speaking with one of the people who, of course, have felt the impact more, a remote worker who, needs internet connection, and we're going to talk to her about how this has affected her work and her family life. We're going to be speaking with Mrs. Adedolapo in a bit, and she'll, of course, let us know how the power outage has affected her. All right. We hope to connect with her shortly. All right. Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us, Mrs. Adedolapo.
Yes, this is Mrs. Adedolapo.
All right. Can you tell us what you do?
I'm a consultant, agricultural consultant.
And you're also a remote worker, right?
Yeah, I work remotely.
Okay. Now, this evening we're talking about the erratic or poor power supply that we have experienced even more regularly in the past couple of days in Nigeria. And I'd like you to talk about how the power supply has been in your area compared to how it used to be before, and how, this is affecting you as a remote worker. And also, what are the measures that you've taken to combat this poor power supply so that you can have full output, in the work you do?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm actually not going to give the government any accolade. Prior to this power outage that is so crazy, sorry to say that, we, like my area, we hardly have light for 8 hours in 24 hours.
Wow.
Hardly.
So is that before this current issue?
Yes, before this, prior to this, we hardly, and now is a total blackout. Total blackout. It's so terrible. I personally use solar. You understand? And sometimes I still have to charge my batteries, inverter batteries. You understand? But now there is no light. We still have to go get petrol to power the generators, to charge the batteries. It's so terrible. And to add to it, the petrol is now 1,000. I got a liter for 1,060 naira.
1,060 naira.
Yes, at Mobile. It is at Mobile where I stay. It is so terrible. And, country is hard. How many people can afford that? How many people can afford to power their generators? And this is so bad for business. As a remote worker, I have to stay on my laptop most of the day. I have to keep charging. And the heat, we have heat waves around right now. We need light. We need electricity. Do you understand what I'm saying? Prior to this, it's not as if even the fans we have, the air conditioning. How many people have ACs in their house? Even the fans are not even making people comfortable. Talk more of when there's no light at all.
Let's talk about.
Terrible thing.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about how this may affect the output of remote workers, and even affect their employability levels, for remote workers in Nigeria.
Oh, it's going to affect in a lot of ways. Firstly, the funds you get, like I said earlier, they are going into buying fuel for your generator sets. You understand?
Yeah.
So you spend extra than you do. Some of us use our internet connections are connected based on light. Do you understand? And now you still have to spend more
to ensure your internet is on.
Is on. Do you understand? Per time. Even that means even when I charge my laptop and it's full, and probably you can say I should switch off my gen. I can't do that because I need night for my internet, and that is costing more. So what is the value? There's no value in all. It's affecting with remote workers also. Do you understand? The heat, everything. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. I hope the government finds something to do about things this very soon.
Thank you. So. Thank you so much, Mrs. Adedolapo. Thank you so much for taking time out to be on the show.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. That is, because sometimes we really want to see how these inefficiencies or lapses in government, in the way the government carries out their roles, how it affects ordinary Nigerians. Now, we just spoke to a remote worker who has outlined the numerous ways that this is affecting. And this is for someone who probably, she has been working as a remote worker for a while and has the funds to get, petrol to power the generator, to power her laptop and her internet. Now, imagine someone who has probably just gotten the job of, gotten a remote role, and obviously is waiting to work the first month before they get some pay, and they're able to get some little money, and now this is happening. I've learned that in some band B areas there hasn't been power supply for 4 to 5 days. Even in some band A areas, the supply is not what it should be, while some even say that there has been no power at all. Our second guest was supposed to be, the aide to a lawmaker, but unfortunately we're unable to get him. So this is where we'll wrap it up on the Big Seven Stories. I once again want to pay a charge to the Minister of Power, Chief Adibaya Adelabu. We know that we're hearing that there's so many things. It's not just about the generating companies, the likes of the AEDC, the EKEDC, the IBEDC, and co. They say that they're merely distributing what the Gencos have given them. The Gencos are the generating aspect. And the Gencos are also saying that they're not able to generate as much because of gas shortages. So there's a very big problem in that sector, and we do hope, we're calling on the Minister of Power to ensure that this is looked into, because electric power is life. Many people need it for their work. People need it to, produce, to even consume. We need to consume cold water. The weather is very hot. People are fasting. They need to, at least be comfortable. Students are in school. They need to read. Hospitals have complained for months under this new banding regime, Band A, that they're paying so much. They can barely afford it. So now imagine for hospitals who can barely afford to pay the actual electricity bills, they now have to depend on diesel and petrol, which has, of course, number one, gotten more expensive because of the current war between the US, Israel, and Iran. And also, number two, gotten more expensive because the supply may now be higher than the demand. So we plead, their Minister of Power, that you look into this matter, wade into this matter, and find a lasting solution to it. That's it. That's how the week looked on the Big Seven Stories. 7 big stories, one clear picture. I thank you so much for tuning into the Big Seven Stories on Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Always remember that the news doesn't end when the bulletin does. I want you to always be curious, to be informed. And of course, I'll see you next week with another Big Seven. My name is Bolanle Oduekun Ayola. Good evening. God bless you.
It's back, bigger, bolder, and better. The Big Seven Stories returns to Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Join Bolanle Oduekun Ayola every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. as she breaks down the 7 biggest headlines of the week: politics, economy, security, lifestyle, and more. Plus, in our special segment, I Report, we dig deeper into one headline with expert insights and the voices of everyday Nigerians. Don't miss the comeback of the Big Seven Stories every Saturday from 8:30 p.m. only on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, the wholesome radio station.
89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.